Hello friends, this is Rashmi Singh. Welcome to my channel Unraveling Science. Solutions for Chemical Reaction and Equations, Chapter 1, Class 10. Questions from the chapter. First is, why should a magnesium ribbon be cleaned before burning in the air? Magnesium is very reactive metal. When stored, it reacts with oxygen to form a layer of magnesium oxide on its surface. This layer of magnesium oxide is quite stable and prevents further reaction of magnesium with oxygen. Thus, magnesium ribbon is cleaned by sandpaper for removing this layer so that underlying metal can be exposed. Write a balance equation for the following chemical reactions. First is hydrogen plus chlorine gives hydrogen chloride. You can see the reaction here. Barium chloride plus aluminum sulfate gives barium sulfate and aluminum chloride. Sodium plus water gives sodium hydroxide and hydrogen. Write a balanced chemical equation with state symbols for the following reactions. Solution of barium chloride and sodium sulfate in water reacts to give insoluble barium sulfate and solution of sodium chloride. You can see the reaction here. Sodium hydroxide solution in water reacts with hydrochloric acid in water to produce sodium chloride solution and water. Fourth is, a solution of substance X is used for whitewashing. Name the substance X and write its formula. Write the reaction of the substance X name in the above with water. The substance X is calcium oxide. Its chemical formula is CaO. Calcium oxide reacts vigorously with water to form calcium hydroxide, that is slaked lime. So you can see the reaction here. Calcium oxide, that is quick lime, plus water gives calcium hydroxide, that is slaked lime. Fifth, why is the amount of gas collected in one of the test tube in activity 1.5 double the amount of gas collected in the other? Name this gas. In activity 1.7, the gas collected in one of the tube is double the amount collected in other because water get hydrolyzed to release hydrogen and oxygen gas. Here, after electrolysis, 2 molecules of hydrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen gas is released, hence the amount of hydrogen collected would be double of that of oxygen. Sixth, why does the color of copper sulfate solution change when iron nail is dipped in it? When iron nail is dipped in copper sulfate solution, iron displaces copper from the copper sulfate solution, forming iron sulfate, which is green in color. You can see the reaction here. You can see in the picture the blue color copper sulfate, when iron is dipped, is changed into iron sulfate, which is green in color. Seventh, give an example of double displacement reaction other than one given in activity 1.10. Potassium bromide reacts with barium iodide to give potassium iodide and barium bromide. Here is the reaction. 8. Identify the substances that are oxidized and the substances that are reduced in the following reactions. So in the first case, sodium is oxidized as it gains oxygen and oxygen gets reduced. While in the second case, copper is oxidized, copper oxide is reduced to copper, while hydrogen gets oxidized to water. Back exercises. First, which of the following statements about the reaction below are incorrect? So you can see the reaction. Lead oxide when reacts with carbon form lead and carbon dioxide. A. Lead is getting reduced. B. Carbon dioxide is getting oxidized. Carbon is getting oxidized. And D. Lead oxide is getting reduced. So options are A and B, second A and C, third A, B and C, and fourth is all. Correct answer is A and B, first option. Oxidation and reduction reactions apply only for reactant and not the products. Lead and carbon dioxide are products and are not the reactant, hence they cannot be oxidized or reduced. Second, iron oxide when reacts with aluminium, it gives aluminium oxide and iron. This above reaction is an example of A. Combination reaction, B. Double displacement reaction, C. Decomposition reaction, or D. Displacement reaction. The correct option is displacement reaction. Third, what happens when dilute hydrochloric acid is added to iron filling? Take the correct answer. Hydrogen gas and iron chloride are produced. Chlorine gas and iron hydroxide are produced. C. No reaction takes place. And D. Iron salt and water are produced. So the correct answer is A. Hydrogen gas and iron chloride are produced. Fourth, what is a balanced chemical equation and why should chemical equations be balanced? A reaction which has an equal number of atoms or of all elements on both the sides of chemical equation is called balanced chemical equation. Chemical reactions should be balanced to follow the law of conservation of mass. Fifth, translate the following statement into chemical equation and then balance them. First, hydrogen gas combines with nitrogen to form ammonia. You can see the reaction. Hydrogen sulfide gas burns in air to give water and sulfur dioxide. C. Barium chloride reacts with aluminum sulfate to give aluminum chloride and precipitate of barium sulfate. D. Potassium metal reacts with water to give potassium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. Balance the following chemical equations. So first one is nitric acid reacts with calcium oxide to give calcium nitrate and water. We have 4 hydrogen atoms in the reactants and 2 on the product side. So we add 2 to HNO3 and 2 to H2O. So that now we have 4 hydrogen atoms on each side, 2 nitrogen, 1 calcium and 8 oxygen atoms on both sides. Next is sodium hydroxide when reacts with sulfuric acid, it gives sodium sulfate and water. In this reaction we have 1 sodium atom on reactant side and 2 sodium on the product side. So we add 2 to NaOH and 2 to H2O. Now we have 2 sodium atom on each side, 6 oxygen, 4 hydrogen and 1 sulfur atom on both sides. Sodium chloride plus silver nitrate gives silver chloride and sodium nitrate. In this we have 1 sodium, 1 chlorine, 1 silver and 1 nitrogen and 3 oxygen on both the sides. So equation is already balanced. Fourth is barium chloride and sulfuric acid gives barium sulfate plus HCl. Here we have 2 hydrogen atoms on reactant side and 1 on the product side. So we add 2 to HCl. Now we have 1 barium, 2 chlorine, 2 hydrogen, 1 sulfur and 4 oxygen atoms on both the side. Now the equation is balanced. Write the balanced chemical equation for the following reactions. Calcium hydroxide plus carbon dioxide gives calcium carbonate plus water. You can see the reaction here. Second, zinc plus silver nitrate gives zinc nitrate and silver. Aluminium plus copper chloride gives aluminium chloride plus copper. Barium chloride plus potassium sulfate gives barium sulfate plus potassium chloride. Eighth, write the balanced chemical equation for the following and identify the type of reaction in each case. A. Potassium bromide plus barium iodide gives potassium iodide and barium bromide. So this is a double displacement reaction. B. Zinc carbonate gives zinc oxide plus carbon dioxide. This is a decomposition reaction. C. Hydrogen plus chlorine gives hydrogen chloride. This is a combination reaction. D. Magnesium plus hydrochloric acid gives magnesium chloride and hydrogen. This is a displacement reaction. Ninth, what is meant by exothermic and endothermic reactions? Give examples. An endothermic reaction occurs when energy is absorbed from the surrounding in the form of heat. For example, photosynthesis, melting of ice, evaporation, etc. An exothermic reaction is one in which energy is released from the system into the surrounding. For example, explosion, concrete setting, nuclear fission and fusion. 10th, why is respiration considered to be an exothermic reaction? Energy is required to support life. Energy in our body is obtained from the food we eat. During digestion, large molecules of food are broken down into simpler substances like glucose. Glucose combines with oxygen in the cell and provide energy, and the special name of this combustion reaction is respiration. Since energy is released in the whole process, it is an exothermic reaction. So here is the reaction. Glucose plus oxygen gives carbon dioxide, water and ATP. 11th, why is the decomposition reaction called the opposite of combination reaction? Write equation for these. In decomposition reaction, a single compound breaks down to produce two or more simpler substances. For example, calcium carbonate breaks down to form calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Whereas in combination reaction, two or more substances simply combine to form a new substance. For example, calcium oxide when reacts with water formed calcium hydroxide. 12th, write one equation each for decomposition reaction where energy is supplied in the form of heat, light and electricity. So in the first case, calcium carbonate in the presence of heat decomposes into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Second, silver bromide in the presence of light decomposes to silver and bromide gas. And third, water in the presence of electricity forms hydrogen and oxygen. What is the difference between displacement and double displacement reaction? Write the equations. Displacement reaction is the one where one or more reactive substances displaces the less reactive one from its salt solution. Like magnesium when reacts with HCl form magnesium chloride and hydrogen. Whereas in double decomposition displacement reaction, mutual exchange of ions takes place between two compounds. Example, potassium bromide reacts with barium iodide to form potassium iodide and barium bromide. In a displacement reaction, only a single displacement takes place, whereas in double displacement, as the name suggests, two displacements takes place between the molecules. 14th, in the refining of silver, the recovery of silver from the silver nitrate solution involved displacement of copper metal. Write down the reaction involved. The reaction is silver nitrate when reacts with copper gives copper nitrate and silver. 15. What do you mean by precipitation reaction? Explain by giving examples. The reaction in which an insoluble solid called precipitate is formed is called precipitation reaction. Example is sodium carbonate when reacts with calcium chloride gives calcium carbonate and sodium chloride. In this reaction, calcium carbonate is obtained as a precipitate, hence it is a precipitation reaction. 16th, explain the following in the terms of gain or loss of oxygen with two examples each. Oxidation and B is reduction. In oxidation reaction, gain of oxygen takes place, that is, element is oxidized. Like magnesium is oxidized to become magnesium oxide and copper is oxidized to become copper oxide. In reduction reaction, loss of oxygen takes place, that is, the compound is reduced. For example, copper oxide is reduced to become copper and zinc oxide is reduced to become zinc. 17. The shiny brown color element X on heating in air become black in color. Name the element and the black color compound formed. The element X is copper and the black color compound formed is copper oxide. Equation of this reaction involved on heating copper is given as copper plus oxygen, copper oxide. 18. Why do we apply paint on iron articles? Iron articles are painted because it prevents them from rusting. When painted, the contact of iron article from moisture and air is cut off, hence rusting is prevented. 19th, oil and fat containing food items are flushed with nitrogen. Why? Oil and fat containing items get rancid due to the oxidation with atmospheric oxygen. To prevent rancidity, food items they are flushed with nitrogen. Nitrogen do not react with oil and fat containing items. Explain the following terms with one example each. Corrosion, rancidity. Corrosion. Action of air, water, acid or other substance on metal surface to form oxides and carbonates is called corrosion. Corrosion of iron is called rusting. Green coating on copper and black coating of silver are the example of corrosion. Rancidity. Change in the smell of food items containing fat and oil when kept open for longer time due to oxidation is called rancidity. To prevent rancidity, food items are flushed with nitrogen or kept in airtight containers. Thanks for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe.